So the last time we were doing Bible study, we were in the earlier part of First Samuel when David was anointed to be king, right? So now we are way deeper into the chapter. I just want to talk to you in First Samuel chapter 22 and Samuel 23. I just want to speak to you about something that the Lord showed me while I was reading. So when we left off, David was anointed. He gets called to the king's palace to play music because there's an evil spirit that's now harassing Saul. David becomes really good friends with Saul's son. They like best friends. Saul's anger starts getting kindled towards David, and David's like, your dad's trying to kill me, bro. And Jonathan doesn't want to believe it. He loves his dad and he loves David. He's like, no. So I'm going to do something to find out if what you're telling this is true. So he does a couple things, and he comes to David. He verifies. He's like, yeah, my dad is trying to kill you. Go. I want you to be safe. I love you. So David's on the run. He done got some choice men with him. He's, trying to avoid Saul. They're now hungry and weak, and they come to the temple, and David comes to the priest, and he's like, can you give me bread, and can you give me a weapon? And he's remembered by the priest because, remember, David has won so many battles for Saul by this point that everybody knows David. Everybody loves David. He's connected to Saul. So the priest would have no reason to deny his request. So he does what he says that he's going to do. He gives him bread and he gives him a weapon. And so in 1 Samuel chapter 21, verse 7, here we go. Sorry, I passed it. In chapter 21, verse 7, now one of Saul's servants was there that day, detained before the Lord. He was Doeg, the Edomite, Saul's head shepherd. Pause. So all this is going on. This guy is at the temple. Knows Saul is pursuing David, and he just watches. Now, he's one of his head shepherds. At that point, he could have probably went over there and just killed David, right? And then said, Saul, here, got him. Did what you did. I knew what you was pursuing him. I got his head for you. Bam. But he didn't. Let's go down to First Samuel, chapter 22, verse 7 through 9, and then 16 through 18. So David leaves the temple, and he's running. He goes to a couple other places. Saul doesn't catch David. He doesn't know what's going on. So clearly, Doeg held this information. So in verse 7 of chapter 2, it says, Saul said to them, listen, men of Benjamin, will the son of Jesse give all of you fields and vineyards? Will he make all of you commanders of thousands and commanders of hundreds? Is that why you have all conspired against me? No one tells me when my son makes a covenant with the son of Jesse. None of you is concerned about me or tells me that my son has incited my servants to lie in wait for me as he does today. That sounds like straight up manipulation, right? Y'all didn't do this. Why you didn't do this? But Doeg the Edomite, who was standing with Saul's official, said, I saw the son of Jesse come to Ahimelech, son of Ahitub, at Nob. Now pause. How long? Now you want to come up with this information? Now that he done came out like basically trying to manipulate y'all, make y'all feel bad about being with him, and nobody's telling him because he can't catch David. You, his head chief, who seen him however long ago, because it's not like they was driving a car, so this was a while. They were on foot. Well, David and them were. I don't know about, so I don't know if they had chariots and stuff. It doesn't say. So he stands up quick. Oh, that's right. He in my vineyards, commanders. He already had a heart of envy probably towards David, or a heart of greed. Like, I'm gonna hold this till I can maximize it. I mean, yeah, I could kill him now, but I'll just keep this little information. We know people like that. So we're going to go to verse 16 through 18. So, of course, Saul hurry up, goes to the temple, and he going on and on, like, just, how dare you? How dare you? And the priest is like, wait a minute, now, hold on now. This is David. This is the one who fought all the battles for you. Everybody know David. Why would I think not to help him? Don't hold that against me. Why is that my charge, my portion, what you coming at me for? But this is what Saul says. But the king said, you will surely die, Ahimelech, you and your father's whole family. Then the king ordered the guards at his side, turn and kill the priests of the Lord, because they too had sided with David. They knew he was fleeing, yet they did not tell me. But the king's officials were not willing to raise a hand to strike the priests of the Lord. The king then ordered Doeg, you turn and strike down the priests. So Doeg the Edomite turned and struck them down. That day he killed 85 men who wore the linen ephod. See that? None of the other officials wanted to raise their hands. These people are anointed by God. You know, why I'm going to kill some priests for? For a boy that you want to follow? I'm not doing that. But who did? The one who saw him however long before. Oh, I got it. I got you, Saul. Whatever you need from me, I'm the man. Uplift me. I got you. I got your back. I told you where he was. I'll kill whoever you want. What you gonna give me for it? I mean, that's just what it seems like was in his heart. The word does not say that, so I'm not adding to scripture, but I'm just saying, you know, we know how people are. They'll watch you. They will observe you. They'll take notes on you to wait for the proper time to use it against you or to uplift themselves. So the question is, who's watching you? You got to be careful. And I'm not saying be consumed with what people think of you and all of that. What I'm saying, though, is for believers in Christ, you have to watch how you behave, because you don't know who's watching you. It could be children who are picking up on what you're doing. And I'm talking to people who say they're believers, but they are doing and involving and indulging themselves in things that we know are not of Christ. You do not know who is watching. And I'm not judging, because I've been there. You know, God has delivered me, thank God. And he's brought me to a place where I'm no longer wavering between right and wrong, and just enough wrong where I'm not, just enough right where I'm not all the way wrong. You know what I'm trying to say. So I'm not judging, but what I'm doing is giving you a warning. You do not know who is watching you out here. And for me, one of the big things was my children, right? And having conversations with my children and seeing how what they observed from me and lessons that they took from me were not what I was saying out of my mouth. It was from what they were visually seeing me do and how I was behaving, acting, hearing phone conversations between friends, and they picked up things. So when I came to correct, it's like, well, you basically, you did this, you did that, and not in a disrespectful way. My children are not disrespectful, but you know, I do have moments where I talk to them and like, let's lay it on the table. Let's speak your heart. I'm going to hear you. And there have been some very hard conversations I've had with my children where I had to check myself, and I'm like, look, I was wrong, and apologize and confess my sins before them, and then say, even though I was showing the wrong thing, this is what God says about this. This is what we're supposed to do, and try to shape my behavior, you know, to align with those things. And like I said, by God's grace, he has purged me from a lot of those things. So what my children see now is what I say. There's no waffling between that. Also, I want to say to believers who are struggling and who are in ministry, because I was also in this position, you don't know who's watching you. You're supposed to be this light, the lighthouse, right? You're supposed to be like the salt of the earth. We're supposed to be drawing men. But a lot of times we are the ones who are causing people to not even want to pursue God. That we're causing them to continue those lies that are told about Christians, believers of Christ who are trying to follow him. They're like, oh, them people fake. Those people are this. Those people are that. Those people are this. And we are justifying what they're saying. So their ears will not be open to hear anything about God. Their hearts will not be inclined to him because they're watching. And they're like, this is what Christians do? This how they act? Oh, we act the same. So what's the point of me trying to get in this word? What's the point of me trying to go to church? What's the point of me learning about praising and worshiping? And I see you doing all this. Nah. We got to get better with that. You know, and I'm saying we because, again, that was me. I was in ministry and all the churches that I was members of. When I was young, I was in the ministry. That's where I had my daughter. I went to another church. I was in ministry there. That's when I had another one of my children. And I was in another ministry. And that's where I had another one of my babies. So I was out here living in sin openly. And I was smoking. I was going to clubs, I would, it was just, you can't do this. You cannot do both things. You know what I'm saying? Choose ye this day who you're going to serve. Ask God to walk with you. Ask him to purge those things from you that are hindering your witness. Okay? Who's watching you? It matters.